The Toronto Region Real Estate Board has released its report on the July real estate market stats, and here to help distill the data is TRREB President Kevin Crigger. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. So I'm always interested in knowing what the markets are like. Tell us a little bit more about the statistics for July home sales.
Certainly. In July, we saw a substantial decrease in the overall number of transactions, especially compared to the record number of sales in July of 2021. So we are also starting to see a decline in the number of new listings. And we expect that trend of a decline in listings to tie more closely to the number of sales moving through the balance of this year and into the beginning of 2023.
There must be quite a few contributing factors to seeing the sales drop. For example, now that travel is open, people do tend to travel in the summertime, but of course we are seeing rates go up. So what do you attribute all of this to?
Well, I think it's certainly a combination of things, with obviously a change in interest rate being key among them. But certainly in a period before COVID, we saw more seasonality in the market, where certainly the summer was a quieter time. People do go away and sort of focus on other things. During COVID, with really not a lot of option, we saw much less of a seasonality in the market. So that's something that I think will go back to more sort of historic times. In looking at interest rates, we've obviously seen a substantial increase in interest rates over the last period, fairly substantial increases as well. So anytime we see that sort of movement or adjustment, as we saw with the introduction of the OSFI stress test in 2018, a number of buyers sort of step back from the marketplace and sort of take a wait and see approach. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing now.
Yeah, so then let's head towards September, when you typically, before pandemic, would see the market kind of pick up again as people start to shop around. Let's talk about affordability and supply. And you did mention the stress test, something that TRREB is examining and hoping the government could adjust on that.
Certainly. The stress test ultimately fulfilled its goal, which was to account for a future increase in interest rates. With rates currently where they are and people having to stress test at 7% and 8%, it's certainly a policy that the government really should be reviewing, because it's not sort of in line with reasonable expectations of market rates.
Oh, okay. And then in terms of affordability then, because the rates are going up and people obviously are wanting to get into the market, what would you like to see? What are some of the tips that you can offer people who are sort of sitting back and watching this all unfold?
Well, I think obviously a review of affordability based on a change in rate certainly is a key element to any buyer's discussion around price and budget. But certainly looking at prices, we have seen a decrease in overall price as well, and we are seeing less competition in the market. So it certainly has created opportunity for buyers who previously would have been in substantial competition on anything that they were looking at. This essentially gives time now for them to view a number of properties and really consider their options. In terms of discussions that we've been having around policy changes, certainly looking at buyers who currently own homes, so homeowners, the stress test is obviously a consideration that would affect their ability in a mortgage renewal to switch to another lender. So we certainly hope that the government will look at options to allow existing homeowners to switch to other lenders without any additional requirements for the stress test, and also looking at potentially longer mortgage amortizations in the inflationary environment that we work in now for homeowners who are currently in a mortgage and not looking to add any additional mortgage debt, looking at the option of longer amortizations to allow for greater affordability.
All right. Kevin Crigger with TRREB, we thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, time now for your news.